Have you ever walked through a forest paying attention to the shape of the land, grinding rock to sand, hills and valleys sculpted over eons by water? Have you ever strolled the landscape of your own fucking mind to try to find and observe how repetitive thoughts fall like rain and curve into the path of least resistance and gather into small streams which eventually cut ravines and inevitably widen into rivers? The pristine blue sky, the feeling of I, like the empty but wakeful nature of mind, allows all weather to move within it. We have storms of wanting, whose woeful waters all race towards the river of want, a current so fast and swift that when the thing wanted is achieved, we soon become unsatisfied and our thoughts again look for the next thing wanted, and we no longer appreciate the thing gained. Fear is a hurricane, and we huddle in its nebulous eye, afraid to move into its torrent, and thus we stagnate whilst the downpour overflows our creeks of action and floods our aspirations, inundating our life with the floodwaters of immobility to the point where even when one fear is conquered, the proclivity to fear remains and finds a new house of hope to destroy in our meandering mind. The earth is carved and cut by water. The wrinkly pink meat computer in our skull is carved by the electricity of thought, and with the mistaken identification that we are thought, we become a product of patterns, a puppet pulled upon by the threads of our own neural pathways. Every storm must have a sky, every river must have an empty gorge through which to flow. A hurricane's force is only measured in terms of destructiveness if there is a bunch of shit in its way to destroy. A puppet must have a hand by which its apparent animation is possible. Take a stroll through the woods of you, gaze past the fucking storms of wanting into the lucid field of the sky of mind. Surrender to the hurricane of fear and let it take you where you've resisted going, for if you ride its gale, it cannot batter you. You cannot reverse a river, but you can begin cutting new channels in new directions. You can begin overriding old code with new code, and you can begin this very fucking moment right here in the river of now. A meat puppet lives a life of reaction and blame and dead-eyed suffering, but to not just be the puppet, but to also be the puppeteer is an act of joy even in the face of fear and of wanting, and the conjoining of master and servant is an ineffable experience of a singular duality that transcends the neural strings of limitation and bondage. All we see are the patterns etched into the mind, phantom tendrils that take shape through identification but cannot exist without a substratum of consciousness with which they may expand like a spider's web. Fucking pay attention is the point. See the unfolding of your experience and gently massage and pry open the contracted and seized corners of your mind, and you will find the greatest satisfaction of all, that the truth and the secret you mistakenly seek has been hiding all along within the most mundane and familiar. Radiating is the very nature of lucidity, of cognizance, a river of consciousness within which all thought and wanting and fear float. It always has and always will be the river of you.